April 1972, 1:37 a.m. Waylon Jennings walked into a room behind a closed auto parts shop just outside Nashville and saw something that changed everything. The pills were already on the table. That's not how it usually worked. Usually you sat down first, talked a little. Business came after the small talk. That's how men did things back then. Even when the business was pills and the small talk was a lie, everybody agreed to believe. But tonight, the pills were already out, scattered across the table like somebody was in a hurry. Bottle caps loose, labels facing different directions, cash already stacked beside them. Ray Collins sat across from the empty chair, hands on the table, trying to look relaxed. He wasn't. Waylon could tell before he even took his hat off. You spend enough time on the road, you learn to read rooms. You learn which truck stops are safe and which ones aren't. You learn which promoters pay and which ones disappear. You learn which doctors write prescriptions and which ones ask questions. And you learn when something's wrong before anybody says a word. Waylon sat down. The chair scraped against concrete. The sound bounced off cheap wood paneling and died in the low ceiling. A single bare bulb hung overhead, throwing shadows that made everything look older than it was. Outside, the tour bus engine was idling. Steady rumble, waiting. Inside, the fluorescent lights hummed. Ray pushed the pills forward slightly. Not aggressive, just eager. "Long night?" he asked. Waylon didn't answer right away. He was looking at the table, at the bottles, at how the pills were already poured out, counted, ready, at how Ray's fingers kept tapping against the wood. "Show ran late," Waylon said finally. Ray nodded too fast. "Always does. You hungry? There's a diner couple miles." "I'm good." Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The kind where both men are thinking different things and pretending they're not. Ray gestured to the pills. "Got what you asked for, same as always. You want to count them or—" "Why'd you pour them out already?" Ray blinked. "What?" "Usually I count them myself, out of the bottle. That's how we do it." "Yeah, I know, I just figured, save you some time. You got to drive ahead, right? Thought I'd make it easy." Waylon didn't move. His hand stayed flat on the table. His eyes stayed on Ray. "You always make it easy?" "I try to." "You didn't before." Ray's smile flickered. "What do you mean?" "Last 3 times you made me count them. Told me you didn't want no confusion later. Said it was better if I did it myself so nobody could say you shorted me." "Right, yeah, I just thought—" "So what changed?" Ray's hand stopped tapping. He looked at the pills, then at Waylon, then back at the pills. "Nothing changed. I'm just trying to help you out, man. You look tired." Waylon was tired. Bone tired. The kind of tired that comes from 2 shows in one night and a 3rd one tomorrow. The kind that makes your hands shake if you don't take something to steady them. The kind that makes sleep feel like a luxury you can't afford. But tired doesn't mean stupid. Waylon picked up one of the bottles, turned it slowly, read the label. The name was smudged, like it had been wet and somebody tried to dry it too fast. He set it down, picked up another one. Different label, same smudge. He looked at Ray. Ray was sweating. "Not a lot. Just enough. Just that thin film on the forehead that says a man's thinking too hard about what to say next." "Where'd you get these?" Waylon asked. "Same place, same guy." "Same guy writes his labels in 2 different handwritings?" Ray laughed. It came out wrong. Too loud, too quick. "Come on, Waylon. You know how it is. Different batches, different packaging. It's all the same stuff inside." Waylon set the bottle down. He didn't reach for the pills. Didn't push them away either. Just sat there, hands flat on the table again, looking at Ray like he was trying to solve a puzzle he didn't want the answer to. And that's when something shifted. Not in the room, in Waylon's face. It wasn't anger, wasn't fear, wasn't even disappointment. It was something colder than all of that. It was the look a man gets when he realizes he's been making the same mistake for too long and just now figured it out. Ray saw it too. "Waylon, I swear to God, it's the same." "These aren't what you said they were." 5 words, quiet, flat, final. Ray opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "What are you talking about? I know what they are, and I know what they're not." Waylon pushed his chair back. Not fast, not angry, just done. He stood up. Ray didn't. "Where are you going?" Waylon looked at the pills one more time, then at the cash, then at Ray. "You keep those," he said. "Waylon, wait." "Keep the money too." "You don't understand." "I understand fine." Waylon walked to the door. His boots sounded loud on the concrete, louder than they should have. Ray stood up fast. Chair scraped back. "You can't just walk out. You need—" Waylon stopped at the door. Didn't turn around. "I needed you to be straight with me. You weren't. So now I don't need anything." "Waylon—" The door opened. Cold air rushed in. The sound of the idling bus got louder. Waylon stepped through. The door closed behind him. Ray stood alone in that room. Pills scattered on the table. Cash sitting untouched. Bottles with smudged labels looking exactly like what they were. A bad deal that almost worked. The bus pulled out 5 minutes later. Waylon sat in the back, hat still on, jacket still smelling like stage smoke. He didn't say anything to the driver. Didn't explain. Didn't need to. The road stretched out ahead. Dark, quiet, endless. Same as it always was. In the weeks that followed, things changed. Not loud changes. Not the kind people write about. Just small shifts. Quiet decisions. Waylon started making his own calls. Started choosing his own people. Stopped letting anybody rush him into anything. He cut off 3 guys he'd been working with. Didn't explain why. Just stopped returning calls. Word spread the way word always spreads on the circuit. Not through newspapers, not through interviews. Through truck stops and back rooms and late-night phone calls between people who knew people. Waylon walked. That was all anybody said. They didn't need to say more, because everybody who'd been on the road long enough knew what it meant when a man walked away from pills he needed. It meant he decided something was more dangerous than withdrawal. It meant he'd seen something in that room that told him staying was worse than leaving. It meant he'd chosen himself over the habit, even if just for one night. And in a world where most men don't make that choice until it's too late, that was everything. Ray Collins kept dealing, kept making his runs, kept showing up in parking lots and back rooms with bottles and cash and promises. But the serious guys stopped calling him, not because they knew exactly what happened, but because they knew enough. They knew Waylon Jennings walked out of a deal, left money on the table, left pills untouched. And if Waylon saw something wrong, they didn't need to see it themselves to believe it was there. By 1973, Ray was working smaller circuits, county fairs, dive bars, the kind of places where nobody asks questions because nobody cares about the answers. He died in 1979. Heart attack in a motel room outside Tulsa. Nobody came to the funeral except his ex-wife and a cousin from Oklahoma City. The pills in his system were the same ones he'd been selling for years. Waylon didn't hear about it until weeks later. Somebody mentioned it on a bus somewhere between shows. He didn't say much, just nodded. Stared out the window for a while. Then he went back to writing. Because that's what outlaws do. They survive the things that kill other men. And then they write songs about the road. Years later, people would ask Waylon about the pills, about how he quit, about what changed. He never told the whole story, just said he got tired of being tired. Said he realized one day that the thing he thought was keeping him alive was actually killing him slow. Said he walked away before it was too late. He never mentioned April 1972. Never mentioned a room behind an auto parts shop. Never mentioned Ray Collins or smudged labels or pills scattered on a table. Because some stories don't need to be told. They just need to be survived. And Waylon survived. He kept playing, kept writing, kept living the outlaw life on his own terms. Not because he was stronger than other men, but because on one cold night in April he chose to walk out of a room most men never leave. That choice didn't make headlines. It didn't end up in interviews or biographies. But it saved his life, and in the outlaw world, that's the only story that matters.